Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack exactly why the absolute most anticipated, industry-shaking showdown over the future of artificial intelligence ended before it even really got off the ground. I mean, for weeks, the entire tech world was on the edge of its seat, right? We were totally bracing for this massive legal collision between Elon Musk and OpenAI, led by Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. This was supposed to be the trial that finally pulled back the curtain. It was going to show us exactly how AI is being developed and, more importantly, who actually controls it. But instead of this drawn-out dramatic courtroom saga we were all expecting, we basically got a sudden stop.
And honestly, the sheer abruptness of this outcome is just stunning. Out of nowhere, a federal jury completely tossed out Elon Musk's 2024 lawsuit against OpenAI. Think about that for a second. All of that buildup, all of the incredibly high-profile legal firepower on both sides, the intense anticipation of watching these absolute titans of tech hash out the philosophy and the business of artificial intelligence under oath, it just vanished. Poof. The jury rejected Musk's claims entirely, concluding that the case simply wasn't legally viable.
To really grasp the shock factor here, just consider this number: 2. The jury began deliberating in the morning, and it took them less than 2 hours to reach a completely unanimous verdict to dismiss the entire case. To put that into perspective, in high-stakes corporate litigation, especially stuff involving massive, outsized personalities and potentially world-altering technology, a 2-hour deliberation is incredibly, wildly fast. It tells us that, at least for the jury, the core issue wasn't actually complicated at all.
So, you've got to wonder, right? How does a case ostensibly about the future of humanity and the ultimate control of our global economy collapse so incredibly fast? We were totally primed for this grand debate about the soul of AI, but instead, a super dry, foundational legal mechanic came in and completely derailed the whole battle.
It all boils down to a very basic legal threshold, the statute of limitations. You've probably heard the term. It's just a fundamental legal principle that dictates the strict time limit you have to actually file a lawsuit. In this specific scenario, the law allows a 3-year window. That's it. So the jury went into that room and basically focused unanimously on one incredibly simple question. Did Elon Musk bring this case in time? And the answer they landed on was a resounding absolute no.
Let's actually do the math here, because it's pretty straightforward. Musk filed this lawsuit in 2024. If we subtract that 3-year statute of limitations, we get a hard legal cutoff of 2021. But during the trial, overwhelming evidence was presented. We're talking private emails, text messages, the whole 9 yards, proving that Musk was totally aware of his complaints regarding OpenAI's structure way before 2021. Because he knew about all these alleged issues prior to that 3-year window, his 2024 filing simply missed the clock. He quite literally just waited too long.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, wait a second, does the jury actually get the final say on a technicality like that? Well, as CBS News legal expert Jessica Levinson pointed out during the coverage, in this particular case, the jury's finding is technically advisory. Actually, scratch that. It's highly influential but not strictly binding on its own. However, the presiding judge, Judge Rogers, has already signaled that there is overwhelming evidence to support adopting this exact decision. So while it's advisory in name, everyone expects the judge to make it a definite, binding reality. But here is the massive bait and switch for all of us watching from the outside. Because the entire case essentially died on a missed deadline, the jury never even touched the massive, heavy philosophical and structural arguments that actually dragged these men into court in the first place. The statute of limitations essentially acted as a giant legal shield. It completely blocked the court and the public from getting to the actual juicy substance of the lawsuit.
And what exactly was that substance? Well, Musk's core contention was that Sam Altman severely veered off their previously agreed-upon not-for-profit model. Musk argued the original vision was strictly to keep AI open and safe for the public good. He claimed OpenAI essentially took a charity's money and pivoted hard toward a highly capitalistic model, one hyper-focused on satisfying shareholders, going public, and delivering immense profits. That's a huge accusation. It's a claim of a breached charitable trust, and because of the quick dismissal, it was left entirely unresolved.
So, because the trial ended so abruptly, this massive pile of societal and legal questions just fell completely by the wayside. I mean, think about it. Was there ever an actual enforceable contract between Musk and Altman? Are these incredibly powerful tech leaders truly credible when they speak about their intentions? How is this technology going to fundamentally shatter and shift our job market and economy? And ultimately, at the end of the day, who actually controls the immense power of artificial intelligence? We got absolutely no answers.
The danger of leaving those kinds of questions unanswered is massive. There was this great analogy brought up during the CBS News coverage that frames it perfectly.
Basically, we have spent the last 2 decades watching social media evolve, and let's be real, it wasn't exactly created for the public good, but rather for the extreme growth and profit of massive companies like Meta. The underlying fear with this entire dismissed trial is that we are risking repeating those exact same profit-driven mistakes, but this time with a technology that is exponentially more powerful.
Which naturally brings us to the most immediate pressing concern for the industry right now. With the lawsuit just unceremoniously thrown out, how does this sudden dismissal actually affect the future balance of power in the AI landscape? Both of these guys have massive ambitions, and both are reportedly looking to take their respective AI companies public this year. That means there are billions, maybe trillions of dollars and massive financial stakes on the table.
So where do things actually stand today? Essentially, the status quo is completely locked in place. Elon Musk remains fully in control of his own attempts at building AI, though it's worth noting his lawyer, Stephen Milo, has stated they're preserving the right to appeal the dismissal. On the flip side, Sam Altman remains firmly in control of OpenAI. The company is going to continue to innovate and build out ChatGPT completely unabated. Nothing structurally changes for them. Really, the only shared outcome here is reputational damage. The public airing of all those private texts, emails, and credibility questions during the brief trial definitely left a mark on both billionaires.
If there is one huge takeaway you get from this explainer, it's that a truly vital test of merits was denied. Oftentimes, the public really relies on litigation to establish the rules of the road for the Wild West of tech. Courts are exactly where we typically figure out what's fair, what's legal, and what genuinely protects the public good when these completely new, disruptive industries explode onto the scene. But a simple missed deadline robbed us of having that clarity for artificial intelligence.
And honestly, that leaves us facing a highly provocative reality. The so-called trial of the decade, the one that was finally supposed to settle the foundational philosophy of AI, was dismissed in under 2 hours. As these tech titans continue to just invent the plane as it flies, charting the course of an entirely new AI-driven economy, it leaves the rest of us totally in the dark, asking one very scary question. If the courts aren't going to set the boundaries for the future of AI, who will?